Hey guys, what's up? Chris here, San Diego, California, joined by Daniel Harper, aka The Symbiosis, and Stumpy Joe Jr., aka Ryan, on the camera. Guys, we are at Karl Strauss's Brewing Company. This is their production facility. This is where the magic happens. This is where they bottle all their stuff. This is where they make a bulk of their stuff for their brew pubs. Really excited. We're gonna get a tour here. So what do you say we go on in and get a tour?
That was awesome.
Let's go.
In 1989, Karl Strauss and his cousin Chris Kramer got together and opened one of San Diego's first craft breweries, Karl Strauss Brewing. Karl Strauss served as the brewer himself from 1989 until his passing in 2006. Since the doors first opened, Karl Strauss now brews over 30 beers a year, including 6 core beers, and a host of specialty beers as well as some seasonals. Their distribution has expanded to include over 2,500 bars, restaurants, liquor stores, and grocery stores throughout Southern California. And they've opened 6 more brewery restaurants in San Diego, Orange County, and Los Angeles. The brewing operations are now headed up by brewmaster Paul Segura. We sat down with Paul to pick his brain about the future of craft beer in San Diego, as well to get a look at the brewery itself.
What's cool too is you go to other breweries in San Diego and they're doing a lot of crazy stuff too, stuff you would have never thought of. We had a beer this morning that was brewed by Ballast Point that was like chicken Penang without the chicken.
Oh God.
Indra Canindra, if you guys get a chance to taste that, it's pretty interesting. So I mean, it's I don't think some of the crazy stuff we're doing, we're seeing other, our friends.
Yeah.
And we're not even really sharing ideas. We're all just sort of in the same mindset, like we're just going to do crazy stuff because the market in San Diego is supporting it, they're digging it, and they're kind of perpetuating it.
It's insane. It's insane. It's what it is.
But it's fun, and there's a fine line between genius and insanity.
Right, yeah. And people are willing to try everything. It seems like in this area, so in this.
They seek it out.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
it's cool though too, because it took a long time to get to the point now. I mean, we really had to build up a lot of credibility over the years. And metals kind of helped build that credibility. And we're now to the point where we can put just about anything into bottles and put it out there, and people are gonna know that that it's a good beer. It's like they're already over the credibility hump. They're already gonna go, wow, what's next, man? I can't wait for that next thing.
What would you say is the beer that really did that for, say, Karl Strauss?
For us, it was probably the Karl Strauss Amber Lager, which is a Vienna style lager. That was our flagship beer for the first 15 years or so. And it was really within the last 6 years, 5 years maybe, that the Red Trolley kind of overtook the Amber. The Amber's just kind of stayed nice and steady, and has always been sort of a go-to for a lot of people as a sessionable, lager, Vienna lager. And I think over time, people's taste buds just, evolved a little bit, and now everybody's got to have a double IPA on tap. Everybody's got to have something barrel aged. Everybody's got to have something a little bit bigger. We still continue to make the beers that are approachable to a wide variety of people. In fact, we still make a lot of amber lager, almost as much as Red Trolley. But
Tower 10's taken off in the last 3 years since we first started that. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, our IPA is
really
going crazy now. We make a German style hef that's selling really well.
And Big Barrel, that beer sold out practically before it's brewed.
Beer's fantastic. That is a fantastic beer.
After discussing the San Diego beer scene and, of course, tasting a few beers, we moved on to the bottling line at Karl Strauss.
This is where all of our bottles are labeled. So our Crohn's labeler is a machine right there. Today we bottled about 1,200 cases of Red Trolley. Wow. So our fill room is right next door here. The bottles kind of come through the wall, and they're sprayed with water to kind of rinse the excess foam off the neck of the bottle. And they go on the conveyors to the labeler right here. On the back side of the labeler, a conveyor takes them to our case packer. So the case packer arranges the bottles 4 wide and 6 deep, and as soon as there's 24 bottles in that configuration, it brings a box up underneath there, and the bottles fall right down into the box. So, and that thing hauls butt. All of our case erecting equipment's upstairs, and it's kind of gravity fed right down to the case packer. So all of our empty boxes and stuff, they all come flat. All the empty 6-pack carriers, all that stuff. We've got machines upstairs that, that pull the boxes apart, put the glue on there, you know, put them under, put 4 6-packs in the case, and those come right down the conveyor. And so it's a full-on, you know, it's a full-on production. Right now we're running probably about 2,500 to 3,000 cases a week. We try to build up some 6-pack inventory because then we got to stop the line every 3 weeks or 4 weeks and do
like
a whole week of 22-ounce bottles.
Oh.
So then we got to kind of retrofit the line with the 22-ounce gear. So we do 12 and 22s here, obviously on this equipment. Our bottle filler is in this room over here. So it's an old Meyer filler we bought used. They were actually they had this up the highway up in LA. They were putting soda, you know, using this to put soda in bottles.
Bunch of jerks.
Yeah, using it for the wrong reasons. So we got this relatively cheap. It was used, and you know, we had to take it apart, put it back together, and now it's rocking, man. This thing's, the cool thing about this filler is it's like a Volkswagen. You can find parts for it all over the place, and anytime something breaks,
well, you can kind of even see
easy
it,
to
like,
fix.
you know, you have the older, the rusted kind of steel in here, but then these, you know, the shiny stainless steel up top.
Yeah, yeah. So that thing's rocking right now. It fills a lot of bottles pretty quick. We're really happy with the fill levels and the dissolved oxygen levels. Everything is, you know, in beautiful spec right now, and we've just got that thing humming. And this whole room was designed so that, you know, it's kind of a sanitary room. We've got sterile filtered air that comes into the room. The bottling filler itself creates a lot of CO2 because you've got to use CO2 to purge the air out of the bottle before you fill it. So this room actually will fill with a lot of CO2. So we've got a suction on the low side of the room over there that pulls the CO2 out as positive sterile air is coming into the room.
So you counter pressure fill, you don't bottle condition?
No, we don't bottle condition here. It's all counter pressure fill. This hallway has a lot of offices coming off of it, so all of our bottling crew kind of shares this office, and there's Austin right there, who's often in charge of our palletizer and bulk glass depalletizer. Restrooms on the left-hand side if you guys need to use the restroom. We've got our creative team of marketing people over on this side. And then we've got our laboratory right here. We've got 2 full-time quality control guys, and they spend all day in here, and they grow the yeast for us. They test the yeast for us. Every time we pitch yeast into a new fermenter, they do cell counts and viability checks for us. Every day during you know, active fermentations, they're pulling samples off, measuring pH and gravity on every batch. Every batch of bottles gets checked for fill levels, dissolved oxygen. They also do pH, bitterness, color, you name it, they check for it. Alcohol, they've got an alkalizer, they, you know, verify the alcohol and everything. So, you know, every batch of beer we do goes through rigorous testing.
It's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
And this is stuff that Karl set up early on. You know, he wanted to make sure that that we're very consistent, that there's not a lot of variability, and I think he kind of knew that that would help gain people's confidence in craft brew, and that would help, you know. So that's what we do, man. Every batch gets checked for just about everything. This is our brew house right here. We bought this brew house used from Pyramid when they closed their Kalama, Washington plant. It's a 60-barrel brew house, 3 vessels, mash tun, lauter tun, brew kettle, control panels right up there, and the grist hoppers up there. So right now we're doing 3 or 4 brews a day, depending on the day. And today we're actually brewing 3 batches of red trolley, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry.
No, 3 batches of amber lager today.
Okay.
So right now it looks like we probably just started the lauter on batch number, are you brew 2 today? 3?
So the third batch of the day, we just started the lauter on.
For the Amber Lager. Amber Lager tea.
Okay. So that's Derek Gallinoso. He's one of our production brewers and beer enthusiast and home brewer and all-around beer dude. Fellow beer geek.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Wow. This is our first stop along the fermentation beer trail.
Oh, it smells so good in here.
This is Full Suit, which is our wintertime seasonal beer. So this will be on in production for about 4 months during the winter months. And we call it Full Suit. Anybody who's familiar with surfing in Southern California knows that at this time of year you got to wear a full suit when you go out surfing, or you end up with some genital issues. And now this still has a little bit of yeast in it, so it's
very, very. Is it a Belgian?
This beer actually went through primary fermentation in another fermenter.
Wow.
And then what we did was add about 200 pounds of French oak chips into this fermenter and racked the beer from the other fermenter in here. And so we let it sit, we let it lager in here cold for a couple weeks on the oak chips. And because there's so much surface area, you get a lot of that oak flavor. Within a couple weeks, it tastes like this beer has been aged in oak for months.